That's bullshit. I've never made that argument. You're making a straw man. That's a straw man. That's a straw man.
Beating you with a straw man.
Yeah, you're fucking told us without human minds there's no red. That's exactly the same fucking argument.
Did you just do the nana nana nana?
Yeah, I heard
You totally just did the nana nana nana.
I heard that.
But he's not arguing like a juvenile.
Yeah, let Godless go back at him with that because he never actually answered.
You know what you guys are? You know what you guys are? You guys are freaking Eric Hovind going to a chalkboard and saying, "What is the number 3? It's an imaginary thing out in space." Woo! No, there's no such things as imaginary things out in space. There's no such thing as a spiritual soul. It's just physical reality. That's all there is, guys.
Dude, numbers don't exist. Change my mind.
Careful, you racked the slide there. You don't push them too far, guys.
Jesus. Yeah, dude, numbers don't exist. Change my mind.
Well, remember, he thinks numbers are physical.
They are physical manifestations of empirical reality.
No, you're just a faggot.
Well, if that's the case, can you tell me what? Can you tell me under? If that's the case, can you tell me under what rock you could find the number 2?
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Or maybe it's inside a pool of water or something. How heavy is the number 2?
Where is
it's not heavy. It's just a concept made by your physical mind.
Well, if it's a concept, if the number 2 is a concept,
yeah.
Or if it's a concept and it's also physical. I mean, if it's physical, I would think it would have some sort of weight to it, right? Or some sort of
physical.
No, that's the reason why you're wrong about this. Is you think
hold on, what's the reason I'm wrong about that?
If it's physical, it has a spatial location. If it's physical, it has a spatial location. He's asking you, where is it?
It's in your brain, your neurons, your synapses.
Your brain.
Yes, he's saying it's a
cellular. Let me show you why that's retarded. Let me show you why that's retarded. It's false for the same reason that if a brain surgeon did surgery on a brain and dropped the brain on the floor, he wouldn't think to ask where the love rolled under. Right? If he poured hold on.
The 5-second
if he
rule.
poured the chemicals from the brain out into a bucket, it wouldn't make sense for him to say, that's a bucket full of anger.
Actually, hold on. I can I know Pointman knows the answer to this because his wife can probably answer this better than I can, but there are people
the smart ones here.
There is actually a location in your brain that is responsible for emotions. So some people don't have emotions. They don't because
just wait till you get old and have a stroke, then you'll hit empirical reality really hard when you can't move your left arm.
You guys are fucking stupid.
No, really, that's the truth.
Space Raptor, what? Nothing that you're saying is relevant to the discussion, moron.
Why are you insulting? Why?
So when you hear something you don't like, you just insult it. That's not an argument.
Calling you moron when you're demonstrating that you're being a moron isn't an insult. It's just a matter of fact. So what's happening is you're hearing them mention words and you're saying something that you think's related, but it's not, right? You're not staying on point. You're hearing the word brain, and so you're saying something about brain or location, but you're not talking to the actual point.
No, I actually directly addressed the point.
Look.
He said if a brain fell on the floor, somebody wouldn't think to say, well, let me pick up the love or whatever. Like, there is an actual physical location for emotions in the brain.
Look, that's irrelevant. I can say...
No, that's exactly relevant.
Let me explain to you.
That's exactly relevant.
Well, let's see if that's the case, okay? I can accept the proposition that there are places in the brain that may allow you to produce in your mind a concept such as love. But it doesn't mean that place is love. It's
your
for the
brain
same reason
is your mind.
It's for the same reason you wouldn't say, like, I'm playing StarCraft right now, right? It's for the same reason you wouldn't say something like, there's an actual hellbat in-game or in a spatial location. It's just a process of the program that you're running. It's not in an actual location. The thing that you want to assign a location to, which would be correct, would be the neurons themselves. It would be the firings of the neurons. That you could find a spatial location for.
Okay. Hold on. I just want to ask a question because I actually understand, like what you're trying to argue. Okay, you believe that concepts and thoughts and logical constructs are like in this like ether other world and they exist.
No, false. I'm not a Platonist. No.
Well, what are they then? What do you get from your belief?
There are things that can exist, such
immaterial.
as yeah, exactly. Like abstract objects, for example, right? I don't hold that those are platonic, but I don't think that they're physical. I don't think that I can look under a rock and find an abstract object. I will never, they're not physical in the sense that I would never be able to lift up a rock and find the number 1. Now, the neurons that fire that allow me to conceptualize the 1, yeah, there's a spatial location for those.
Okay, so if every single human being was dead tomorrow, would what you just described still exist in the universe?
It would exist as an abstract object necessarily. But abstract objects are not physical.
It's a thing that a human dreamed up. So without human dreams, they cease to exist.
No, they are not dependent on minds. If you say they are dependent on minds, then it would necessarily entail that those things didn't exist, or 1 + 1 = 2 would not be true if minds didn't exist. But you don't want to say
reality.
According to you, it's physically in your mind.
Hold on.
According to you,
the physical reality would still exist, but the definitions, the logical constructs that the human mind came up with would not exist.
Look, if it's physical, just because somebody dies, their brain is still there, right? Everything physical in their brain is still there. So according to you, if everybody drops dead right now, the concepts would still exist. Moron.
No, because if your brain, it's like an engine. Horsepower ceases to exist if an engine stops running. And a logical construct is like the horsepower of the human brain.
So what's it made of?
It's made of fuel that we consume. You eat food and drink water.
This guy is like a slightly higher
food and water that we
output,
drank
not
when
the
we dropped
fuel.
dead is still there.
It's still there, but it's no longer able to function as it is intended to function.
Does it
It's like a
stop
computer that
existing?
crashes.
Does it stop existing?
Eventually, it just goes back to it goes back to nature. It always exists in one form or the other.
Oh, it always exists. So the numbers always exist, even
But
when there's no more.
you can't. If you're dead, you can't think of the number 3, dude. I mean,
but everything physical is still there. Therefore, it still exists because there's nothing more to the mind than your brain. You think that your mind is identical to your brain.
Godless. Just asking the question. Just asking the obvious
RV
question.
can drive around without fuel.
Hold on. Look, what was your name again? Something man, whatever. Point man. Hi.
Yeah, just call me Point.
I'll call you what I want. Point man.
You can call me little baby. I'll put on lipstick for you if it makes you feel like a man.
Ah, dude.
All right,
Picture it didn't happen.
Lipstick. All right, lipstick baby. If there were no minds, right, and there were 9 planets in our solar system, if there were no humans, would there still 9 planets or what?
There would still be 9 planets, but the number 9 would not exist because the number 9 is a human concept.
Wait, so you're telling me that 1 + 1 = 2 is not true if no minds exist?
That concept, what you just told me, would not exist.
No, look. Is it true that 1 + 1 = 2 even if no minds exist?
The question, is it true, would not exist without human minds?
No, look, that's not what I asked you.
The word no
Is 1
would not
+ 1
exist without
=
human
2
minds.
true if no minds exist?
Can I ask you a question? Pause that a minute.
Without
Wait,
hold on.
actually,
Hello?
isn't the question whether it exists, not whether it's true?
No, that's not my question. My question is 1 + 1 = 2 true if no minds exist?
Well, then that's an irrelevant question because we were talking about what exists.
That's not an irrelevant question.
We were talking about whether metaphysical things exist.
Hold on one second.
Regardless
Look, there's an
of the
important
physical
technical matter. As a mod, I have to bring it up. Point man, you're gonna have to get that cunt of a wife in the background to shut the fuck up. All right,
Oh,
we're arguing with
fuck.
you, not her. Okay? Can you do that for us?
Okay, so
Very distracting.
it's a lot of people try and talk. So math is the universal language of reality because it transcends whether.
Or if it's the case that your wife tells you.
What? No, hold on.
Can you answer the question?
Math tells us whether something is right, whether or not we want it to be true or not, right? But the concept of like truth and the concept of one and the concept of plus and the concept of no and the concept of yes does not exist.
Are you going to answer my question?
What is the... Say the question again, dude. I've said it like 5 times. If you can't keep track of the conversation, maybe you need to put the beer down. Well, you know what, dude? I answered it like 20 times in a row. It's just like the empirical
No, you
mind
didn't.
thing.
You
I
answered other questions that I didn't ask.
Look, how do you know you answered if you don't even know what the question was, retard?
You don't want the answer. You don't want to hear it.
What question did you answer? What was your answer?
The question about does the 1 + 1 = 2 still exist if human beings don't exist?
Is it still true?
It doesn't matter if it's true or not. The question is, does milk exist in the fridge before I open the door?
No.
That's what you're trying to ask me, right?
Because I asked it.
If you're being asked.
Is it true or not?
Is it true that lightning would exist on planet Earth?
Are you going to answer the question?
Just answer the question. Jesus.
Yes. The answer is yes.
Okay, awesome. So how can they exist absent of humans if you say that they're contingent upon human mind?
The numbers 1 will not exist after humans are gone.
That's not. Look, how can 1 + 1 = 2 still be true, and you say that the number 1 still exists?
The base 10 number system
also say it's based upon the human mind.
Intelligent species
you want to make it contingent upon the human mind. And you want to say it doesn't exist, so now you do have the proposition that 1 + 1 = 2 is also not true?
The next intelligent species will probably come up with another mathematical system that will not have the number 1.
This guy doesn't even understand set theory. Look, you don't need base 10 for 1 to exist. This is absurd.
Hey, Pointmanzero, do you know why we have a base 10 math system?
Convenience? I don't know. Rich masters.
Look at their fucking hands, shit stick.
Let me guess. The reason why we have it is because Starbucks didn't give you a promotion this week.
Look at your fucking hand.
Who the fuck is this faggot? No, guys.
What the fuck?
He's done. Look, he's got no fucking arguments. He's made absurd contradictory claims. Why is everyone getting upset? Just stop talking. He's a fucking idiot.
He's a fucking
idiot. This is funny.
Exactly.
This is funny. So this is what you guys
think
do every night.
We
You like
don't pay
pretend to be
attention
smart
to
by
him.
insulting
Our minds
people.
will no longer let him manifest. And
So you pretend to be smart by insulting people. It's so funny.
Right. So
no, I just insult people.
I invited Point in here so that we could have a conversation, not so that we could have like an insult fest.
They're trying to act like
follow the
fortune.
conversation.
No, there's
They're
no
children.
You are on
Look,
the
I'm not-
internet.
They are
That's kinda what
children.
happened.
insulting him. I didn't
They are
just come
children.
out and say, look, I
They
didn't
act
come out
like
and say he's
millennials.
terrible and I hate him.
Faggot, retard, faggot, retard, faggot,
Dude.
retard. Really?
Stupid
Like,
12-year-old.
Yeah. I mean,
Moron.
honestly, don't
You
try
have
to
to ask your
don't,
wife.
I was
don't try
afraid
to say
call
you're
you a
not
fuck
insulting.
stick.
You people are a joke. I mean, Jesus Christ.
No,
you got
no,
like
you're
Kim
a joke.
Kardashian in here trying to speak
That's
on the
divine.
mic.
It doesn't make any
Hey,
sense.
point. That's a good way to get
To a
muted.
minimum, boys.
Yeah, point. That's a good way to get muted. Stop that shit.
Put your wife on the mic.
It's December.
After, dude, look, allow me to clarify.
Faggot, retard.
White night.
Faggot, retard.
I'm just gonna
Faggot, retard.
Space. I'm gonna mute you if you don't shut the fuck up.
Faggot, retard.
Together.
No, wait. They're all in.
We're gonna get laid together.
Is your wife too scared to come on the mic?
Oof.
Hey, bitch, wife, you think mine's a
My wife has a PhD, and you probably work at Taco Bell.
I'll fucking crush her. Bring her to the mic. What's your PhD?
Probably
I'll crush her
work
in her
at
own
Taco
fucking
Bell.
field. I will crush her in her own field. Bring her to the
what?
mic.
Are you published at all? No? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Bring her
Only
to the
published
mic.
people.
Hey, Point man, what's your
Because
wife got
Mike
a
is
PhD
my
in?
wife.
To the mic.
I don't even know what they're arguing about.
They aren't arguing, babe. They're just
I
insulting.
have no idea what
They
you're
just
doing.
insult. They don't argue.
What's your PhD in?
Nobody with a
What's the
PhD is referred to as babe. Okay, that's you're lying.
Nobody with a PhD is referred to as babe, dude.
Yeah,
People
don't
with
just repeat what
PhDs
you're
are not
hearing, buddy.
kings.
Yes, dude.
Get the
Hey,
fuck
listen.
These are not.
We're trying to understand what it.
Zach,
What's her PhD in?
This is crazy. You people
What field is her PhD in?
You people are fucking crazy.
What field is her PhD in?
What does it matter? She's not talking to you.
Well, you claim she's got a PhD, so what's it in?
Well, you brought it up though.
It's like saying you're a doctor and you turn out to be a dermatologist.
Who's a dermatologist?
It was
Hold on a sec. Pointman, you're saying what doesn't you're saying what doesn't matter, right? But did it matter?
My
when
wife
you
is a
brought up?
behavioral neuroscientist, and she works at a scientific nonprofit research organization. She is published. That is all I'm going to say.
And
Holy
you
shit.
waste your time arguing with us on the internet.
Headless, was her paper on you?
Was her paper on me?
Yeah, are you in the test subject? Is she researches?
The largest dick in the universe, published in Nature. That would
I'm
be
actually
awesome.
curious. What do you do? Are you the one getting cucked in this relationship?
What do I do?
It's you have the general demeanor and attitude. Listen, man, you have the general demeanor and attitude of a cucked man. I'm just curious.
What I do is I get like invited into rooms on Discord, and then people go, "Oh my God, you're so stupid, bro."
His wife actually is
what do you do for a living?
Anyway, and she has to deal with this.
For a living, and does she make more money than you?
You want to know what I do for a living? You know Trump supporters? So I make fake websites that feed fake information to Trump supporters, and then I sell them T-shirts and hats, and I take that money and I use it to like buy a sports car.
Cool. Yeah, it's confirmed. What's it called? His wife is running this.
Yeah, that's so odd. It's not very often that you meet a PhD who actually married their test subject. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Another insult.
I
Wow.
want to ask your wife a few questions about neuroscience. Can she come to the mic, or is she just scared?
Yeah, I think you should just tag her in. It's obvious she's the one with the pants.
Pants?
A pants
She's
suit.
not allowed
Pants
to
suit.
wear pants in this house, buddy.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Get the smart one on microphone point, man.
Yeah,
Come on,
just get the
We can
chief.
insult her. No, thanks.
Listen,
dude.
just
You
get
guys
the chief.
Get your own
Dude,
girl.
dude,
Oh wait. Oh,
point,
that's what you're trying to do on Discord by insulting people.
Point. Just get the
that's
chief.
cute.
We're not interested in talking to the ambassador. Just get the chief.
What was that conversation about?
Yes, send the PhD.
Yeah,
on
that
the
bitch,
Where's the
mic.
creationist?
Get on the mic, bitch.
Where's the creationist? Get on the mic,
What
bitch.
have I done to her?
Yeah, what has she done to you? Why are you calling people bitch like a white trash trailer trash?
Stop the meta, asshole. Get your wife on, Mike. Come
Why
on.
are you being a Jerry
When
Springer
you hear
up
from the
here?
organ grinder, not the monkey.
Put her on mic, dude. Jesus Christ.
Get the smart one in here. Come on.
So fucking upset.
No, I have just one question.
What's the quiz?
Why am I being called a bitch?
Yeah, why are you calling her a bitch? You think she's gonna come talk to you when you talk
Well,
her a bitch?
honey,
Yes, let us answer her. Jesus.
No, I want the person who called me a bitch to answer me.
Yes, that's the plan, bitch.
Yeah, look, I called you a
On
bitch.
Reddit.
Hey, listen, I called you a bitch too. The point is, you seemed very eager to interject early on. So why are you upset when we responded?
I was talking to him. I forget his microphone works.
Hey, bitch, your husband thinks minds are physical. Neuroscientist, PhD, bitch. Do you agree with him that minds are physical, or you think he's wrong?
No, I think minds are physical.
She studies minds for a
Jesus
living.
Christ.
Minds or brains?
Minds are brains. Brains are minds. Both are
Oh
physical.
my god.
Hey.
Ask her about.
Hey, let's
hold on,
ask.
hold on.
No, hold on. Hey.
Ask her about Mary.
I just want her to find.
I don't believe in your metaphysics. Can we talk about something other than metaphysics?
Look. Do you have
Okay.
free will? Ask her if we have free will.
Mary.
We don't have free will. We do not have free will. Next, can we talk about something else?
I want to know what she says.
I said define mind.
She said define mind. She said it like 3 times.
Well, do we have free will or not? Can you get? This is not. It's not interesting. Just ask her.
But what does the definition of a mind have to do with free will?
Do we have? Can you stop this mind thing? It's above her pay grade.
Y'all were talking about free will. She said something about mind. I said define mind.
Oh, don't worry about her. Do you have free will?
Don't worry about her. No, she's the one that asked me the question.
Yeah, she asked you a question and ran away like a little
Is
bitch.
she gone?
Yeah, she ran away.
Look, do you have free will or not? Do you have free will or not?
We do not have free will.
I think
I want her answer.
No, because that would be a personal opinion and not scientific.
She said she thinks we do have free will.
My personal opinion is that we have free will.
That's her personal opinion. That's called a faith-based statement, like religion.
Do you think that personal opinions are somehow divorced from having good reasons?
Yeah, is your statement that we don't have free will an opinion, or is it based on a fact?
Mine? Oh, yours.
It's based on the experiments that we've done that have shown that the core inner parts of our brain makes a decision before we, the conscious frontal lobe, are aware of that decision. That is the current consensus in science, is that the brain makes a decision before you are aware of the decision.
How does that reduce down to determinism?
This has been demonstrated in science, in empirical reality.
Look, we can do a modal reduction on that.
We understand that. We're guaranteeing that, and we're moving on from that. So just relax.
The modal reduction on that is you will do X. That doesn't mean that the X is necessary, right?
Necessary?
Yeah, if you will do, that's a future contingent.
I take a lizard.
What somebody will do in the future, it's still considered a future contingent. It's not necessary.
I don't understand.
In order for it to be determined, it would have to be necessary.
Yeah, well, if you come to a fork in the road and you have to keep going, both are necessary decisions you must make.
What?
When they did the experiment, they told them that they have to choose from like left or right, up or down, and they chose before. So this is like a fork in the road. You have to choose.
Hold on, stop.
Does our knowledge of does our knowledge mean it?
Hold on, there's a problem here. Doesn't know what necessary means. What do you think?
Oh, I don't know what necessary means. My fucking Bill Clinton.
Just tell me what you think it means.
The word necessary means it like
yes! What does it mean?
Why was he yelling at the time that I answered his question?
Because my mic is low and you're being a fuckwit.
Yeah, you keep on breaking up as well, Seth, and it sounds like you stood about 20 foot away from the fucking thing.
I think it's just because the mic.
You're also having problems with your fucking ping because you're cutting over people. You're walking backwards through set, basically, buddy.
Oh, low production value.
Look, I want to understand
Maybe if we weren't 12-year-old minors borrowing dad's laptop, we could get better microphones.
Answer my question. Is what you think necessary means?
What do I think is necessary? I think it's necessary.
What do you think necessary means?
I already answered that. You were yelling. Necessary means that it's something that must happen.
Hey, can I ask that bitch neuroscientist a question?
Oh, here we go. You're going to run away again.
You said that it's necessary means that it must happen.
You're going to run away again. You're going to run away again.
She thinks that minds are physical and we have free will? What the fuck? If everything physical is subject to causality, why wouldn't the physical mind be subject to causality, you fucking retard? You're a moron.
Our neural... Hey, wait. I can answer this. Neural networks are a physical manifestation of reality, yet they make decitions. Sweetheart.
Excuse me. Actually, what happened is I asked you a question and you disappeared. So
these people are a fucking joke. These people are a fucking joke. They pretend.
Just get on mic if you want to have the conversation, woman.
Ghetto person. I don't know what she is.
What are you, from the ghetto? What are you, street? What are you, gangster? What are you doing? Trying to front? Trying to be tough?
Just get.
I come from a place in Alabama where they fucking will kill you if you have the wrong color.
Come on this side of the room and talk.
You want to act like you're fronting and being tough? Jesus. Yeah, I got kids. I don't want to wake my kids. You guys causing me stress.
Yeah, it's a good thing you didn't yell the words "kill you" too loud to wake your fucking kids up, moron.
Don't make me report you to the police, kid.
Me yelling "kill you" at the top of my lungs is pretty much what I do about 11 p.m. on a Thursday. What day?
Oh yeah, you're hard, aren't you?
You're totally hard, man. Yeah.
Yeah. You live in the birds, don't you? With the fucking
totally hard.
Wife.
Totally hard. I'm the hardest. I'm the hardest hard.
This fiance of like a neuroscientist.
I'm the hardest hard.
Right. Doesn't know what day of the week it is, and they'll kill you in the middle of the night while his kids are asleep. Something isn't adding up.
So I'm gonna kill you in the middle of the night.
It's like a memer, dude. Jesus,
You don't even know what.
Hey, you guys want me to have a meme rant? You guys want to like?
You're already doing it.
What subreddit you want to go to the top of? I'll give you a good soundbite.
Talking about.
You can't go to Reddit. Your account's suspended. Remember?
Yeah, I got a new one. It's Pointman1, you motherfuckers.
Who's the fag that brought him in here? I mean,
who's the fag?
This guy was supposed. This guy was supposed to be.
Because I'm a fucking.
I mean, he's been shit on from end to end already. I
call people fag because.
Thank you.
Peace and quiet.
Jesus Christ, you're fucking done, dude. Man.
Space Raptor, do you believe minds are physical too?
Yeah.
Oh my god, these guys are geniuses. They just like ask a question and then they insult.
Wait, can you define what you mean by mind?
Yeah, what does mind mean?
I want to make sure you and I are talking about the same thing.
Yeah, a person's mind is like the sum total of their thoughts, beliefs, qualia.
So you mean mind like soul, not like
no. Look, I just told you what I mean. A mind is your mind is your sum total of your beliefs, your feelings, your qualia.
I don't know that last word that she said.
Qualia?
She's a neuroscientist. What the fuck? She's a fucking neuroscientist and she doesn't know what qualia is? Get these people out of here. They're clowns.
Qualia?
Oh, come on. They kind of gave it up when they said they're from Alabama.
I don't know. I'm not.
What is qualia?
Babe, this bitch has a neuroscience or a fucking PhD in neuroscience and she doesn't know what qualia is.
She's hey, godless. Godless, she's a behavioral.
No. So what's
She is a
qualia?
behavioral neuroscientist.
So wait, so what's qualia?
That's not within her realm.
Qualia.
Okay, do you understand that she's a behavioral neuroscientist, not a cognitive?
Actually, no, behavioral.
No fucking chance.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not even gonna. Okay.
I'm not
What
gonna
is
pay
qualia?
taxes
Can you
anymore.
define it?
Qualia. Are you mispronouncing something you read but you never heard
No,
somebody
it's
pronounce?
qualia.
Qualia is a
You
synonym
guys are
for
so fucking naive.
Or what? I still can't hear her because too many people are talking. It needs to be you.
Just start from the base. Just start from
What
the
is
basics.
qualia?
Hey, look. Do you know
qualia
what?
is what it's like to be an individual.
Qualia is experiencing something. So it's like there's the red that's like the electromagnetic spectrum that's outside of us. And then there's like the red that we experience. That's qualia.
Yeah, the question about
red is a qualia.
So you guys,
with my
So according to you, qualia is physical.
So you guys are trying to, qualia is physical.
Can I answer the question?
Oh, my bad, G. It's Christ.
Shut up.
Slap him.
Thank you. Yeah. Because you store all of your experiences as something physical in your brain, and then you use those as you go through life. Now, if you want to talk about something separate of that, something like soul, something that ties us to religion.
I don't believe in souls.
Okay. So
But
yeah,
I don't
anything
believe
else,
that
I believe
colors.
is all.
I don't believe that the experience of the color red is physical.
It is.
It is. It is.
Your brain has to interpret it.
There are people who can't see color because they don't have the necessary neurons to process qualia.
Yeah.
Look, the experience of the color red arises from the mind. That doesn't make it physical.
It does. It
does.
Yes, because it's all physical processes in the mind.
That's
This bitch thinks, this neuroscientist thinks that the colors are physical.
They are physical. They are
they're
physical.
photons of light.
Do you understand a firework is made of gunpowder, woman?
The experience of
Color
red
is
is
not
not
a fucking
photons
photon
of
of
light. That is incorrect.
No,
Right, so
red
I don't. It's
comes
it's-
from photons of light. We pick
Wow.
up those
Photons
photons and our brain
create an
interprets them
experience of
using
light.
physical processes.
Photons are physical.
Excuse me, sir. Casual sexism will not be tolerated on the server.
Right, so I don't understand. What do you think? Like when you look at the brain, you have a clear model of things like neurons and why we see at all. You know that there's a clear physical model, but there is no explanation for why. Like, say you have a certain neurochemical state that's associated with one color being perceived rather than another color being perceived. Right. Now, there's no prima facie contradiction in finding one color. It's all right. One visual experience of a color being associated with that same brain state rather than another. So the question is, if the color were reducible to those brain states, how could it be the case that it's logically possible that those states could be different? In other words, what's the mechanism that explains why those experiences are associated with those brain states?
I think what you're confused on here is the difference between sensation and perception. Color happens before the brain because of receptors that we have in the eyes. And then signals are sent to the brain saying this color hit the eyes. And then the brain perceives color. It's sensation and then perception. And the perception happens in the visual cortex and the visual association cortex. And then your brain can go places from there, like associating that with certain things, like a rose. And that happens in different parts of your brain. And then a memory gets stored. Roses are red, for instance, and things like that. But these are kind of stages, steps that it goes through from the photon of light hitting your eye.
To you didn't understand what you said. You didn't. You're just demonstrating you didn't understand what was said, idiot.
You just interrupted her.
Right. So you don't understand. It's clear that you don't understand the
and
question.
What I'm saying is, I don't think you understand the example you're trying to use, because what you're saying isn't how the brain works.
I'm not trying to be insulting. I'm trying to. I'm asking. I'm not talking about the brain. I'm not talking about the brain. I'm asking why.
We're talking about the brain.
Stop talking, cunt! I'm not talking about the brain. What I'm talking about is why one color is associated with one brain state rather than a different color being associated with that brain state. That's the question.
What is brain state? Because this is where I don't think you know what you mean. Brain state and color. Color is something that your receptors pick up and tell your brain what it is. What do you mean brain state? Color
in this context, you're equivocating. Color in this context means the way something appears to you.
Now, no, so you're saying color is
certain wavelengths of light can appear to you certain ways, right? So a wavelength of light with a certain nanometer range appears a certain way to you. And when you change the nanometer range, it appears differently to you, right?
Do you mean to a person or to just me versus some other person, as if they can see this differently?
The proverbial
you. I'm asking if you mean, does everybody see this differently, or is this how a human sees it? That's not irrelevant.
The proverbial you is fine. It doesn't really matter. Okay. The point is that there is an association.
I agree, we all see it.
A lobster will never see the color.
I'm not talking about a lobster. I'm talking about a human.
I'm not clear. It's not clear to me. Like, it just seems like you don't understand the example, right? Like,
No, what I'm saying is your example doesn't make any sense, because brain state is not this isn't a thing.
You gotta speak scientifically.
I don't think that. Look, brain state is really simple, and it's a simple concept in philosophy.
Okay, define what you mean by brain state, because
philosophy is a soft science, dude.
Philosophy and neuroscience.
Philosophy is
not a science.
We're not having.
Philosophy is not a fucking science, retard.
You know what a soft science is?
Yeah, psychology and sociology are soft sciences. Philosophy is not a soft science.
Psychology is not.
Yeah, philosophy and
science
is also soft science. Thank you very much.
Philosophy and science are completely different paradigms of inquiry, right? One looks for predictions in the world.
Negative.
Philosophy doesn't.
Science is actually born from the philosophy of empiricism, but
no, that's incorrect. That's incorrect, because it just seems like you guys are just completely fucking ignorant, right? So like you can
because I don't understand the thing that you're saying that you invented.
So,
I'm ignorant.
because she doesn't understand your miseducation.
You think that I invented it? Why don't you go to Google? Go to Google, type in brain state. Just do it.
Go to Google and type in vaccines and see how smart you are, motherfucker.
We're having this conversation.
No, look, I'm rebutting the claim that she said that I made it up. And so I'm just telling her to Google.
I'm asking
brain
you
state.
to tell me what brain state is. Do you not know? Do you need to Google it?
When I attempted to tell you, you interrupted me. But
No,
just
I
because,
didn't interrupt you. This Jackass over here did.
Hold on. When I attempted to tell you, you interrupted me. But then after that, you claimed that what I said, that I was just making up what a brain state is. And so to show that you're wrong, I want you to get on your computer and Google brain state. Several links will come up.
What I'm saying is this isn't a science term that neuroscientists
it's a
use. I'm asking you to
philosophical
tell
term.
me what you mean by brain state.
It's really clear a state of the brain, right? Like when certain neurons are firing as opposed to other neurons, that's a state of the brain, otherwise known as a brain state.
Okay.
So when C fibers are firing in the brain, that's a brain state. That's a classic instance of a brain state that's associated with pain.
So the thing is, when something's happening, when you're sensing and perceiving a color, there's a response in a certain part of the brain specific to that color, but the rest of your brain is doing all different things, and somebody else's brain would be doing all different things. So a brain state related to sensing and perceiving a color is not a term that makes you're just listen. A brain state referring to how your entire brain is dealing with a color, that is not going to be the same as somebody else's brain state if what you mean is what the whole brain is doing in response to this color, because all of that is going to be different based on the other person and everything else their brain is doing and all of their experiences.
Classic examples.
You're still
interrupting her.
Yeah, because she's not understanding. Look, it makes sense to interrupt someone when they're not understanding the point.
Well, that's what he's trying to do.
Just because you're fucking wrong doesn't mean you can claim that people aren't under.
No, look, she's not dude, you don't even understand what I'm saying. So let me see if you guys think that you understand what I'm saying. Why don't you characterize my view back to me? Oh, and look at the silence. So is that evidence, dumbass, that she doesn't understand my fucking view? Because she certainly couldn't fucking articulate it back to me, could she?
I was trying to let you finish talking. You didn't really get a chance to finish.
Yeah, I asked you a question. I asked you to articulate my view.
You want me to articulate?
You asked her to articulate your view?
Isn't that your responsibility?
Yeah, because I was trying to explain it to you, and you fucking idiots were interrupting, and I said that you don't understand my view, and then you said, oh, just because I'm wrong doesn't mean that she doesn't understand my fucking view. But then after that, I asked you to tell me what my view is so that I can see that she understands it, and no one can reproduce my fucking view. You don't even know what I fucking think, and you don't know what I think because you don't understand my fucking view, and that's why you can't answer that fucking question.
What you were arguing.
Look,
I didn't hear him ask the question.
What I asked you to articulate. If you understand my view, then explain what my view is back to me.
You mean about brain state?
Yeah, what I was just saying. The argument that we were just having.
What you're saying brain state is everything that's happening in the brain in response to something. All of the signals that would be going on in the brain in response to, I suppose, you mean a stimulus.
It's just generalizable neurological categories, like instances like C fibers firing. You know what C fibers are, right? You know what firing is. Presumably you know what C fibers firing in the brain are. Do you know what that is or not?
Yes, but what you're saying...
That's a brain state, you dumb bitch.
Sense.
That's a fucking brain state, you dumb bitch. Do you understand what a brain state is now?
Why are you calling me a bitch?
She used to be a professor, and you're calling her a dumb bitch. You're a stupid fucking cunt.
She didn't even know what a fucking brain state was.
Because what you're
saying
is not a term that neuroscientists use.
That's not relevant.
This is a layman's term.
Making up bullshit layman's terms.
What are you talking about? It's not a fucking scientific term. It's not a fucking scientific term. It's a philosophical term.
I'm not a philosopher.
She's not a philosopher, asshole.
I don't use philosophical terms. I am a scientist.
And I explained what I meant. And I explained what I fucking meant.
And then I said, I understand what you're saying, but it doesn't make sense if you're going to talk about something.
Right. You understand it, but it doesn't make sense?
I said it doesn't make sense to use that term if you're going to talk about the physical response to something. If you guys want to talk philosophy, then I'll go because I don't discuss philosophy. I have no interest.
Look, do you think that physicality itself is a philosophical or an empirical notion?
Physicality is empirical.
Okay, so tell me what predictions physicality generates. Tell me what the hypothesis that something is physical generates.
What do you mean? What
Yeah,
the
shut the
hypothesis
fuck up and sit the fuck down, you
physical
stupid
generates?
bitch.
I don't understand your question. That sounds philosophical.
So you don't want to have a conversation. You just want to insult.
Yeah, I do want to insult because it fucking pisses me off when she's mouthing off this fucking stupid shit, like whether or not something is physical is an empirical. Why is she writing off idealism? Why couldn't idealism be true? That's the question I want to know. Why couldn't idealism be true? That's what I want to know.
Something needs to be done here.
Seth, you're not adding any value.
You know what?
Look,
You know what
this
the
is
difference
important.
between
This is
her and
important for the conversation to go on.
She has a
Pointman.
fucking
Hold on,
job
Pointman,
that makes her
Pointman,
money, and the
Pointman.
philosopher
Pointman.
probably doesn't.
How does that
Pointman.
address the argument,
I'm gonna
dumbass?
need you-
How does that address
I'm
my
gonna-
argument, dumbass?
Josh, hold on.
Hey, dumbass, how does that address the argument?
It's just empirical reality, dumbass.
How does it address the argument? Pointing out that she has a fucking job doesn't address anything I've said, you fucking moron.
Why are you so mad?
It exists in reality, and you don't have an alternative.
You are really mad.
You're not a nice person either. I was nice enough to come and try and have a discussion with you, but I don't talk about philosophy. I don't know philosophy. I am not a philosopher. I am a
that
scientist.
Yaniv was
I talk
designed
about
for.
Somebody please
the brain.
ask Pointman to wipe the cum off his wife's face.
This is what people like Yaniv were designed for, to deal with frustrating people like you.
Me, I'm frustrating.
Oh, is this
Wait,
dealing?
I'm not. You won't let me talk. I'm done.
Is this dealing? Is this how you deal? You insult my wife?
Fucking retard. You said you don't discuss philosophy. You claim that fucking colors are physical. That's a philosophical claim. You
Colors are
retarded
physical.
moronic bitch.
Colors are physical.
Empirical, quantifiable property.
That's a philosophical.
Everything is physical. Get over it.
I didn't know that the multiple realizability problem. Josh made that up. I didn't know.
I'm turning on my 125-inch projector screen TV now, and I'm probably not going to give a shit about you people in about 5 minutes.
Josh,
Mikolas, this bitch, they say she has a fucking
word physical.
Mikolas, these people, she said she has a PhD in neuroscience, but she doesn't know what qualia is.
She doesn't know what my chakra level is.
Never heard of the term brain
hot
space
down
either.
at the yoga mat.
Hey, she's a behavioral.
She doesn't know, but I'm not throwing them around.
Jesus, you don't even know what you're fucking trying to insult.
Okay, qualia would be something that a different type of neuroscientist would know about. She's a behavioral neuroscientist. She studies behavior, not cognitive processes.
Actually, I study the brain and cognitive processes. By behavioral, they mean I look at the end result as in behavioral output.
Okay.
I didn't know that Josh invented the multiple realizability problem.
I didn't know that philosophy owned the word physical. I mean, that makes no sense.
Well,
do you know, I don't know what the wife's name is. Do you know what behaviorism is?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Behaviorism?
Do you know what
behaviorism
is?
Behaviorism?
Everything has an ism now.
Behaviorism. I'm not sure I know what behaviorism
Probably
is.
the study of
behavior. I don't know what behaviorism is, no.
So you're a study. You have a PhD in neurological behaviorism. Is that what you said?
No, I'm
Behavior?
a behavioral neuroscientist.
You're a behavioral neuroscientist, and you don't know what behaviorism is.
Well, it's not.
Oh
a
my
word
God!
we
You
use.
don't know this
Do you want
imaginary
me to
word.
look that one up? Behaviorism is not a
I
word.
read
we
this
use.
L. Ron
He
Hubbard
can't hear me
word.
over you.
Blah, blah. I'm sorry.
Will you stop that?
By
I
Dianetics
feel
today.
sorry for her because of her husband, to be honest with you.
Do you know who B.F. Skinner is?
No, I've never heard of him.
L. Ron Hubbard is what
Wait. You have a fucking PhD in neuroscience and they never made you take psychology 101?
I was joking about Skinner. You know.
Oh my God.
So you know who Skinner is?
You didn't know what qualia was.
You know, so you know who Skinner is.
I've known who Skinner is since I was a
All right, so
sophomore.
what is Skinner famous for?
The Skinner box.
Skinner is famous for experiments where they train I'm not going to have this. Can you stop staring at me like that?
The elementary students want to know about Skinner.
This is the Kathleen. I'm now distracted by anything that happens around me.
Superstitious pigeons, motherfucker. I mean, come on. Come on. Do you guys know, or are you just jerking
Look, husband.
Are you guys jerking around, or do you actually
just go fade into the background. Go iron your wife's pants. Iron your wife's pants for the next morning, right? And just
she's gonna go upstairs and go to sleep. You don't get to play with my wife.
Infinitely more interesting than you.
I let you play with a college professor for 5 minutes, and that's all you get. Okay?
So wait, now she's claiming she knows. Now she's
alone.
claiming she knows who B.F. Skinner is, but she doesn't know what behaviorism is.
Yeah,
oh my fucking god, behaviorism. Jesus Christ.
Nobody can hear what she believes because the husband keeps.
I just don't know why. Like this husband guy, he's like walking around.
Oh my god, it's a fucking on the spot fallacy.
Like you're thinking like we made up the term behaviorism when it's just like it's so bizarre.
What?
You could just go to fucking Wikipedia and type in behaviorism and see there's a whole fucking Wikipedia page, and then there's just like, hold on, I'm not done humiliating you. Please don't interrupt me humiliating you. There's like a whole fucking Wikipedia page on behaviorism with tons of references and books about the subject, and you're acting as if we're making it up. It just makes you look like the most uneducated fucking moron around. I don't know why are you doing that to yourself?
Have you ever heard of like this obscure term? I mean, who gives a shit, dude? Who gives a shit? Oh my god!
Oh fuck! Even your wife realizes you're making a fool of yourself.
Think you fucking? What do you think you did? Like, what do you win tonight? What do you win? What do you get? Do you get a cash check in the mail tomorrow because you think you fucking made some sort of point about behaviorism?
Therefore, it doesn't
what the
matter.
fuck? It's an obscure term. Who gives a shit?
It's not that obscure. They're talking about
what are they talking about?
Human stuff, and I don't have discussions.
Jesus, dude, your wife is fucking humiliating you.
So
yeah,
we're having different.
It's not an obscure term. That's why you look.
I hate hearing cups in my ear.
That's why you look stupid when you're touting that you have a fucking PhD in behavioral neuroscience.
No. To be fair, it wasn't. She wasn't the one doing it. The husband was doing that. She never really did.
Guys, she studies rats.
Guys, no, she was asked first. She was asked first what behaviorism was. She didn't fucking know what behaviorism was.
Hold on, I'm gonna Google it. Apparently, I have to Google shit just to make you.
You break your beer can.
It's just a way to change behavior using like
okay.
environmental factors.
The theory that human and animal behavior can be explained in terms of conditioning without appeal to thoughts or feelings, and that psychological disorders are best treated by altering behavior patterns.
Yeah, it basically it's the opposite of what you like because you only like talking about genetic factors, and this is more like environmental factors and conditioning.
I think it's like 70-30 depending on the conditions.
No, you're all genetic on everything.
I'm normally 70%
genetic.
Environment
has no influence whatsoever.
You're fucking insane.
So just the idea of being able to change behavior and using conditioning
if you can
methods to change behavior.
We know now that epigenetic changes happen to your DNA if you were put in a different environment. So, therefore, if we completely change the environment of a test subject, we can totally change the behavior. That is a scientific fact. Absolutely.
I mean, just guys, understand that they should be skeptical. They should be skeptical that you're a neuroscientist because everybody on the internet has a 30-inch dick and has $1 million in their bank account. You know what I'm saying? Understand why they're skeptical.
I don't have a 30-inch.
That's cool. It doesn't matter because tomorrow she still goes to work. You know what I'm saying?
Right, I know, but
to actually have to do
something.
Why should they believe you guys? Like, why?
It doesn't matter. No, they shouldn't believe that she's a neuroscientist. They should believe that they've been assholes and insulted people, and that doesn't make them smart. Well, that's all.
Well,
it's you have to bring forward. I want somebody to bring to me something to argue because all I've heard is insults, and you don't know this term, so therefore.
Right.
I still don't know what you guys are all here.
I would love to argue.
If you want something to argue, I'll give you something to
No,
argue.
what were you guys all here to discuss?
If you want something to argue, I'll give you something to argue. Argue that physicalism is true. Give an argument.
Physicalism. Where did these terms come from? It's
Look,
like,
stop, look, bud. Hey, wife, can you give him some hot milk or something and calm this guy down? He's probably fasted.
I'd suck on her tick right now.
Always like
I
this.
would.
He's very
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm like that, dude. I'm like this 24/7. If you
How do you fuck
listen to me.
this human?
Listen to me. If you put a camera on me, I will be like Alex Jones 24/7. You will make
Like,
money
how
on
do
me.
you fuck this guy and still respect yourself? I mean, it's just
Because I fuck
ridiculous.
harder and faster than you ever will, and longer and harder than you ever will, and my dick is bigger than yours will ever be, and that is an empirical
Oh my-
fact in reality,
He has a
not a
30-inch
logical
dick.
construct.
That part's
Yeah.
true.
He has a 30-inch
What they
dick.
want you to discuss with them is why the world can be explained through just physical
Why the world can be explained through
explanations,
physical
not,
explanations.
right? Not metaphysical ones.
No, why is the physical the only thing that exists?
Because we have no evidence of anything else.
You can't measure anything else.
That's just an argument from ignorance.
No.
Yes, every single human argument, even empiricism, which is what
That's
I
not-
argue for. Listen to me, this is important because I'm trying to give you a bone. Even the thing that I argue for, which is empiricism, is a human construct, therefore it could be false.
But can you
Which I disagree with you, because if humans didn't exist, the physical world still exists.
just send him to bed with his blankie and fucking like tuck him in his race car bed, and we can just talk to you for? I mean,
The fucking planet Earth and shit will still be here, even if humans aren't here. Let's stop saying that over and over again. Physical reality still exists, whether or not, you know, we believe
And that's
it.
why I say that I slightly disagree with you that numbers exist if we're not here. I get that our definition of numbers would not exist if we're not here, but numbers are mathematical. So this mathematical properties exist in the universe, period. So that's always there. So I disagree with you. I don't think the discussion is if humans were here, would this exist or not? The point is this exists. This is how it is. And if we're going to talk about humans, humans exist, and we are made of these things, and these things don't change. And all of our experiences and everything we do is stored in the brain, and it is all physical.
All physical.
Anything beyond that is
Chemical, electrical, it's all physical. An electrical.
look, we're just not gonna get anywhere with this. Let's just try something different. Can we try 3 doors or something?
No, you're right. You're not going to convince me to believe your metaphysical
Look, calm down. Look, buddy, stop spazzing out on me. God damn it, just so annoying.
Could we
I
talk
hope
about something other than metaphysical?
look at your wife. See that sideways look she's giving you? A fucking disappointment. You're making her
Actually
look like
looking
a
at our
fucking
laptop
idiot.
and not even listening anymore because this is getting old. We don't care about
Listen. Relax. Fuck. Can you just rub his tummy or something so he can calm down? What the fuck?
I'm not allowed to fucking talk.
Listen. Okay. I'm gonna give you a scenario, all right?
Scenario.
Because I suspect that you both are bad reasoners. All right?
Bad reasoners. What does that even mean?
Yeah. It means that you're poor at reasoning.
That's not.
Is that
what? Bad at reasoning? What is reason? Do we know? Do we scientifically know? No, we don't, because right now we're trying to solve what human intelligence
Look,
is.
give him his pacifier or something, please.
No,
Just I need you to just
important because we're trying to solve what human intelligence is currently in computing,
Listen,
and we have no idea. We don't know. We're stabbing in the dark currently.
Point man.
We're wasting a lot of energy doing it. This is important because your generation claims that you care about global warming, yet the majority.
Now you're talking about global warming. I mean, Jesus Christ. Dude.
Whatever. Go ahead. What?
Okay, buddy.
I know. I'm just talking to the kiddies tonight. Sorry. All right.
Yeah, you're just keep it. Just remember, you're fucking this guy actively. That's disgusting. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, and not you.
And not you. Yeah, oh, that's hilarious. She insulted you. Oh, that's funny. These people.
Okay, here we go. Yeah.
Trailer
Here we go. Okay. Can you just shut him up or something? Do something, woman.
Spit it out. Ask your question.
Okay. All right. So there's 3 doors. You're on a game show, and there are 3 doors. You with me so far, Pointmanzero?
Game show, 3 doors. Got it.
Now, I say to you, behind one of these doors is a car. And in this hypothetical scenario, you want to win the car, right? If you pick the door with the car, you can win it, right? Now, I say to you, pick a door, Pointmanzero. Door number 1, 2, or 3. What is your answer? Oh, sorry. Behind the other 2 doors are goats. You know, there's no car. But yeah, goat, an actual goat, the animal. Now, which door do you pick?
You said I wanted a car in the scenario, so of course I picked door number 1.
Okay, you pick door number 1, and I don't open door number 1 yet. Instead, I open door number 2, and I show you that there was a goat behind door number 2. Now there are only 2 doors left that are unopened. Door number 1 and door number 3. Now, I say I can open your door, and you win the car if it's there, but I'll give you the option. If you want, you can switch to door number 3. What is your answer?
No, right? You just go to door number 1, right?
No, that's the wrong answer.
Why is that the wrong answer?
Space Raptor, please don't interfere.
Did I miss something?
Yes, you did.
Space Raptor, what part of don't interfere do you not understand?
I don't understand.
Okay. All right. Now that's the wrong answer, Pointmanzero.
Okay.
And the right answer is to always switch
Always.
because you have a better. Space Raptor, what is your problem? Do you have to be muted like a child? The answer is that you always switch because you get a better chance. You have a 66% chance of winning if you switch all the time.
Oh, I know cool mathematical things too. Did you know that we have like a problem of 1? The number 1, when you look at long numbers and calculations, the number 1 comes up more often than other numbers, and we don't know why.
Okay. Did you understand why the odds are different?
Do you understand like why the number 1 comes up like more often?
Well, we can address that, but I'm not really done with my question.
Well, the thing is a smart person came up with an answer to my question, and I'm sure a smart person came up with an answer to your question. But go ahead.
I don't really care. Look, the fact that you don't know the answer, it's meaningless, right? I got the answer wrong, right? What I'm concerned about is if you're able to understand why it is the case. So this isn't something that's designed to be a gotcha because you didn't know the answer. Look, it's like the fucking Matrix, bud. Everybody misses their first jump. I'm not faulting you for it, okay? I'm just trying to figure out whether you got 2 brain cells in your head to rub together to figure out why the odds are better if you always fucking switch.
Just spit it out and explain it to them and find out.
Because, like, I'm thinking that you have to break down all the possibilities of choosing the door, and then you come up to multiple scenarios, and there are more scenarios where there are deception than the announcer telling the truth. Therefore, you should probably go with betting on deception, right?
That was gibberish.
That was complete fucking gibberish. There is no deception.
Betting on the probability of deception. If you break it down.
What do you mean? Deception of what? Deception of what?
So you told me that you have an announcer in 3 doors, right? 2 goats behind doors 2 and 3, a sports car behind door number 1.
No.
Choose door number 1 to get a sports car, and you told me that
stop. You're already wrong. Let me correct you. What? I never said that there's a goat behind door number 2 and 3. There is a car behind one of the doors. There are goats behind the other 2 doors. You chose door number 1. I opened door number 2, revealing a goat, and there are 2 remaining closed doors. I asked if you wanted to switch. Never said anything about there being a goat behind door number 3. There could be a goat behind door number 1.
I thought it was weird that you would ask me that, So, okay, there's 2 goats, 1 car, and you unveiled door number 2, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm supposed to choose the original one that I chose? Or
there are 2 doors left. What are the odds behind them being in the car being behind door number 1 or door number 3? There's 2 doors left.
And I chose 1 the first time, right?
Yeah.
So in math, I could see how it could be possible that changing your bet would be beneficiary.
Why?
Statistically.
You're just saying that. You're just saying because statistics.
It's because I don't understand the concept. I could see how it.
You're just saying that because I told you that the odds are better. You have absolutely no idea why that is, though.
Yes, I just said that, and you repeated it back to me.
All right, so I'm trying to work with you to see if you can understand this.
How are you doing that?
Figure out why the odds are better if you.
I don't know. Oh, how about this? Your original choice was a 1 of 3rd, and then after he removed, you had a 1 and 2. I don't know. You guys explain it.
Pointman, are you a visual thinker, or can you understand things by listening?
I'm photo. I have a really, really hard time listening. I'm not an audio person. I refuse phone calls. I've never done phone calls ever.
Right, so that's going to be a problem explaining this to him. Like, it really is hard for me to understand things.
All right, look, I'll just explain it to you like this. Let's say instead of 3 doors, there's 1 million
doors.
Does
this make us money? I mean, did we
look,
accomplish
dude,
something today?
just stop, dude. Just stop, dude, okay? Please.
Did we accomplish anything today? Did anybody learn anything after you explained this to me? I want to know the answer to that question more than I want to understand the concept.
God, I can't believe a female is mating with you. Okay,
I
say that there's a
top female dude.
okay, let's say that there is a million
I'm
doors.
not a Chad, you know what I'm saying?
Look, Pointmanzero, you're so worthless. Stop.
Go ahead, man. I'm listening to you.
Let's say that there is a million doors. You pick door number 1, and I open up all the other doors except for like 697,317. And I ask you to switch. Do you think that you have a 50-50 shot at winning?
50-50 shot? Then
There's 2 doors left.
Then I don't switch.
What?
No, I don't switch. Why? Why would I switch?
You think that you chose 1 out of a million and you got it right.
Yeah, that's worked for me so far in life. Why not?
It's 100% worthless.
But
you're just totally worthless, dude.
I'm totally
See,
worthless.
That's not the mature thing to say, though. Like, just insulting.
Space Raptor. I have been exceedingly patient with him. I've endured all the memes, all the irrelevant bullshit, all the satirical, ironic responses. I've endured all that. Now, when I finally, at the end, say that he's worthless, right? And you want to tell me that's not a mature response?
That's just insulting. That's all you're doing. It looks like you're just trying to.
This is fun.
What do you think it is for this dude just to come in here and just troll the entire time when we're asking him serious questions?
Of course.
I'm trying to understand this serious.
You don't think that's insulting?
I'm trying to understand.
I mean,
but it's insulting for us to tell him that he's worthless when.
But is it insulting?
Is
it insulting?
You know, I remember Adolf Hitler telling Jews they were worthless. Godwin's law, right?
What is up with this dude?
I'm having fun with you guys. You guys are my dinner entertainment. Don't you understand?
Garbage.
Jesus Christ. Man, you poor guys. You think you're smart by insulting people, and it's funny. It's really fun.
Pointman jacks off to this shit.
I jack off to this shit, motherfuckers.
He
I
does.
jack off to this shit. Jesus.
Why he's blue balls.
This is
Insult me some more. I'll shove something hard in my ass.
Space Raptor, look, if he's just gonna like sort of like do this shtick, then there's really no point in
shtick. No, this is me, dude. I mean, what did you want?
Are you able to just let somebody finish the sentence?
What flavor of human being did you order when
Why
you
do you
insulted
constantly
him?
interrupt people?
Jesus, I've been insulted all night.
Okay, tell me, Space Raptor, how I can engage him where he will engage. Go ahead and tell me. What do I have to do? And I'll do that, and then you'll just look like an idiot. Tell me what to do.
Engage me in empiricism, dude.
I'm just saying, like, if you really want him to understand, you would explain it to him and not just like throw out an insult like he's worthless or something.
I've explained it to him, right?
You know, I was picked on in high school.
And
right?
And I also mentioned maybe he's a visual thinker. Maybe he's not going to understand it very readily because you're explaining it to him via audio means, right?
Are you saying he can't visualize something that he hears?
That's up to him to decide.
What the fuck?
It's hard.
Look, I'm not going to speak for somebody else whether they can or can't understand something. I mean, come on, man.
I'm here. I'm trying to visualize. I mean, you've got a million
Just
doors,
doing
right?
meme responses and like ironic answers and shit. It's just like it's not worth the time.
Meme responses and ironic. What is worth
They
the
don't-
time? What is your goal? I want to know what's your goal. What do you think?
Well, I don't want to just spin my wheels. That's not my goal.
Do you think I'm gonna like tonight say that Jesus Christ exists or something?
Hold on, let me ask you this. Why do you think that I'm a theist?
Because you're trying to get me to
Because
say
I'm
that
asking
there's,
you
like,
about goats in a car?
yeah, because I have a feeling that you're being disingenuous and you're trying to advance a premise to me that I don't understand as a gotcha. Oh my God, you didn't know that.
Yeah, maybe you should be less concerned about getting caught in a gotcha and maybe just go with like the straightforward thing that's being presented.
Dude, I'm not even a fucking theist, bro.
The straightforward thing that was presented to me is I pick a door and then it becomes a 50-50 chance, and I chose not to change the door. I've answered this like
It doesn't
3 times
become a
now.
50-50
It's not
chance.
50-50. It's not 50-50.
He said it was a 50-50 chance.
No, he didn't.
No, he did. He asked you if you thought that it was a 50-50. Listening comprehension.
If you look with an example of 3 doors, if you stay with your door, you have a 33% chance of winning. If you switch, you will win 66% of the time. Now, in the case of 1 million doors, where you said you were going to stay because 1 in a million odds have been working for you so far, that you would actually only win 1 in a million if you stayed. If you switched, you would win 999,999 times out of a million.
So can you write that down, like mathematically, step by step?
It's easy, right? If you just stay, you're just looking at, you're just betting that you got it right the first time.
But what about the whole roulette wheel rule that you shouldn't look at the history? Because
That
the
is called the gambler's fallacy, and this is not the gambler's fallacy.
But it feels like the gambler's fallacy. Like you're saying that the announcer opens the door. Look at the past history. Therefore, you should change your mind in the future. But I don't want to change my mind in the future because I sealed in my bet when I said.
No, it's because you do have access to more information.
Yeah, you can. You asked if you can prove it mathematically. Yeah, you can prove it using Bayes' theorem.
Okay, cool. So I believe you guys, and I believe
You're
this
just
is a
making that up,
mathematical concept.
So what are the odds?
Josh is just making up terms now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you don't know what Bayesianism is, right? So I must be making that up. Is that right?
Yeah, I believe you guys. All of this stuff exists.
All this stuff exists.
Oh, Point Man, they have a thing against memes. Like if you say anything meme related, they have an instant aversion to that in this room.
Oh, so you guys ever just kind of hang out and not be like memes?
Yeah, we have a problem with people not being creative and just spewing out constant bullshit.
Oh my God! Oh, you guys want creative? So I came up with my own religion. You guys want to hear about my own religion?
So this isn't creative.
My own religion isn't creative?
This is just more sadness.
This is just more meme bullshit, right?
No, I really came up with my own religion. I'm not even freaking joking. I gave way more thought than I should have put. I mean,
Do you think you're
because
funny?
thought is like calories, and you only get so many calories over the course
Do
of
you
your
think
life.
you're funny?
No, I'm being serious right now, dude. I'm not fucking being
It's
funny.
just
What the hell?
weird.
I try to be genuine with you guys, and you guys just insult. What the hell? I mean, I could be spending my time somewhere else.
Okay, then do that.
Do that, go. Peace out.
I was asked here by a friend though, so I mean, I would.
Oh, so you can't spend your time somewhere else, huh?
No, I mean, as a courtesy, I would like to
be.
I would like to think that some sort of human discourse could happen here that doesn't devolve.
You're the only one stopping it.
You're the bottleneck, Point Man.
Why am I the bottleneck?
Because your answers are mostly memes and ironic answers. No substantive discussion can really be had with you because you won't engage.
I don't want to talk about mathematics, though. Can we talk about something else?
It doesn't sound like you want him around.
No, not particularly. I mean, we want him around just contingent on him actually engaging and not just memeing.
But I don't want to talk about, like, math. I mean, can't we just, relax? It's midnight my time. I mean, can't we just relax and chill and not talk about freaking doors and sheep and goats and shit?
How about this? Can you just like not participate for a little bit and take a break? How about that?
Yeah, I'll probably just skip out though. Yeah.
Well, you're free to come back next time. Maybe we'll have better luck then.
Okay, go ahead. Proceed.
Google physicalism before you come back.
Hey, Point, I'll see you over in our place. Come back to my room.
These people are weird, man.
This is the caliber of people you have in your room.
Yeah, wow.
The 4 other people must.
What do you mean these people are weird, dude? You've been crushed at every angle.
You've been crushed. Like, what physical thing have you gained? Like did you get a cash check in the mail because
non-physical is non-physical?
I mean, you insult. Like, what do you get by insulting me? I don't understand. Like,
oh, it's fun. I enjoy it. It's very fun.
Point, can I ask you a question? That'd be okay. Listen, if someone came in here and said right now that there's a God, prove me wrong, what would you say to them?
I didn't say that, but I would think, okay, let's engage them and say, where's evidence of this God?
Why do you think there'd be evidence for God?
Well, they think that there's a God, therefore there must be some sort of evidence, right?
Is everything you believe based on evidence?
So, okay. When I said evidence, that also included like just, human experience.
Is everything you believe?
Well, my human experience that a God exists.
So everything you believe is a posteriori?
Everything that I believe is possibly wrong? Is that the question?
A posteriori.
All your beliefs come from experience? You don't think there's like a priori knowledge?
I believe there's genetic knowledge stored in our genes.
Yeah, God wrote that there.
No, my father wrote it by getting outside experience happened upon him plus his behavior.
Oh, fuck. You think qualia affects genetics? Eh?
Yeah, there are studies that show, like, if you have, like, a father that just, like, fucks his DNA up through drug addiction, even if he stops and he becomes sober and clean, there is still permanent damage done to the DNA before conception.
That wasn't the question, right? The question was whether or not qualia affects genes.
Qualia. Is that word that means perception?
Means experience.
No.
Like the experience of something is qualia.
Like the experience of red.
I don't really want to use Scientology terms. Is that a Scientology term or is that a Mormon term? What is that? What is it? Qualia?
It's a philosophy.
Qualia is a philosophy term, bud.
Oh God, guys, is this like one of those places where I'm supposed to like sip coffee and like do slam poetry or something?
Look,
what is this?
If you hear us use the word qualia, you can just replace it with experience. So every time we say qualia, you can just replace it with experience, and that'll work just fine.
Okay, experience. I got you.
So do you think that experience or qualia can affect DNA?
Yes, we know this for a fact now. In fact,
No,
my
we do
wife's
not know this
friend,
for a fact.
my wife's friend at UAB over 12 years ago actually discovered this at the University of Alabama, Birmingham. This is a known fact in science. Your outside pressures can actually cause epigenetic changes, and then once you're looking at cellular division, it becomes permanent genetic changes.
That's not what they're saying.
Behavior. Yeah, that's what they found. They found that the children would actually have
You're not even reading the same book right now.
from their. It's not a book. It's a paper. Do you guys read scientific mags?
That's not a metaphor.
Scientific mags. That's cute.
Yeah, that's cute. No, that's what changes world and builds skyscrapers, and that's
Changes
where the
world
cure
and
for
builds
cancer
skyscrapers.
will be.
Wait a minute.
in
Scientific magazines build
Yes,
skyscrapers.
peer-reviewed journals is where
No.
science is done.
Peer-reviewed papers in scientific journals.
He knows what those are.
Yes, I know exactly.
Repeat after me. Repeat after me.
God.
Peer-reviewed papers.
He knows what those are.
Jesus Christ.
If you know what they are, why do you have such a hard time saying it?
No, scientific mag sounds so much better if I know that you know. You know what I'm saying? If I know that you know, I can just say scientific mags, and we all know that we're talking about science and nature and Cell and all the other scientific peer-reviewed journals. We all know what a paper is here, right? Don't we know what that is?
I have heard him read from peer-reviewed papers before.
Journal?
I have heard him read from peer-reviewed papers before. He knows what they are. I mean, look, you're asking if he knows what they are, and I'm telling you,
you can't interrupt, dude. Because you're not adding anything.
I am adding something.
Point. What would you accept as evidence for God?
Evidence for God?
Yeah, when you're done doing what you're doing, you can get back to your mic and let me know.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, 30 seconds, please, guys. I mean, you know, despite being consulted, I think some of you are kind of all right, you know? Some of you seem to be okay.
We don't care about all that.
Just a little bit arrogant.
Please don't patronize us. Listen, I'm a theist. I've asked you to prove there's no God, and I still believe there's a God because you've told me nothing substantial.
Oh, okay. All right, hold on.
Wait, you have a hypothesis that God doesn't exist. What's your evidence for the hypothesis?
He's gone. He's coming back in like a minute.
Is he peeing on Mike?
He has to finish ironing his wife's pantsuit for tomorrow.
There's a 50-50 chance God exists. Either exists or doesn't.
I don't know if it's true about the PhD or not, but if it is, he sounds like he's just so proud that his wife has a PhD. Wouldn't you find that emasculating? Like this guy is like a high school dropout, and his wife has a PhD. Isn't that emasculating?
He's a high school dropout and his wife has a PhD.
Hey.
That doesn't sound right.
Perhaps she's told him something.
My wife's not here, dude. I mean, she's got to work.
Perhaps she's told you something about hypothesis.
What I was asking is, if it's really true that your wife has a PhD, you seem so proud of it, but don't you find it emasculating?
I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud. My wife is actually kind of a big deal. I mean, she really is.
Yeah. So, but my question is, don't you find it emasculating?
Not really. I mean, I'm ever since 11th grade or so in high school, I've been aiming high, and I've only been going for like the very top women.
Is it that 90% of what you say is bullshit?
No, I'm just trying to be genuine with you guys, but you think I'm full of shit.
Look.
Just trying to be real.
Sorry, Michael, go ahead.
I mean, you guys can record me, put me on YouTube. I don't give a shit. I'm just trying to be real. You know?
Look, I just want to know why you think that we should expect some evidence on the God hypothesis.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. She was asking me about my wife. I got distracted. So the God hypothesis seems to be a cultural thing that is taught, right? So we know for a fact that there are some human beings that are born and live and die, and they are never taught the concept of a singular God. Therefore, we must conclude that it is just a knowledge game from, human to human, and it is possible that you can live in existence without the knowledge of a God. Therefore, God doesn't seem to be of any consequence to human life.
Okay, so
does he understand what therefore means?
You just said there's some people don't believe God exists, therefore God doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's like he's like Santa Claus. It's a concept.
No, we're asking you why you think there ought be evidence for the hypothesis.
Why do I think there's evidence for the hypothesis of God?
Why do you think there should be evidence for the hypothesis?
Because extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Is that a meme, or is that? Can I use that one?
You said. Sorry, God, let's go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's like a perfect example of what a white belt would say. It's like so stereotypical of a white belt.
A white belt. That's a meme.
Look,
extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence.
Look, so you're trying to say something like, I don't see evidence for God, so therefore there must be no God, right?
No. Therefore there must be no. There's a possibility there is.
Okay, so in virtue of what do you reject the hypothesis?
Because every single description of God, except for the one that I have envisioned, is illogical and impossible, and that's my opinion, and that's my faith.
Okay, can you name me a concept of God that is logically impossible?
Yeah, like, Jehovah, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and all that shit.
Please define that and tell us how it's impossible.
What's illogical about it?
Yeah, what about it makes it impossible?
Well, remember, my original contention there just 10 seconds ago was it might actually be possible, but even if it was,
so it's not impossible.
If he was to read the Bible, even if he existed, he would be an enemy of mankind and an evil character. He did not give us scientific knowledge.
About that.
He refused us.
Just because he's a badass, it doesn't stop him being God.
Look, you're contradicting yourself now. You're saying
I never contradicted myself.
He's impossible. Now you're saying he's possible.
I never said I never said God was impossible, right, guys?
You did.
You said he's logically impossible.
Oh yeah. Oh, Jehovah from the Bible, right? Okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
So what if I could show you something in the Bible that's not true?
Why doesn't an interpretation?
Wait. Let's just wait. People. Let's just ask them this: what does it mean to be logically impossible?
Like, if it's 2 + 2 = 7 type shit.
What does it mean to be logically impossible?
Like when it doesn't empirically add up.
No.
Yeah. Why?
Try again.
Oh my God, no, because there are logical impossibilities that have no impact on empiricism, or they're outside of our reach of empiricism.
Oh, so you're talking about things that are true that are outside our comprehension.
Well, I don't know what your concept of God is, right? So I'm asking you.
Okay, so
he still doesn't know what logical impossibility is.
My concept of God is I think that we are biological bootloaders, and in the future we create a living machine that actually branches out like neurons in the galaxy.
Hold on, point. What? This is pointless. I asked you about God existing or not existing, and you're saying my conception of God. What's your conception of God got to do with anything?
What does the Bible's conception of God got to do with anything? I mean, is that what we're talking about?
You can't answer a question with a question, bud.
Well, you guys did interrupt him.
Well, he's answering the question with a question. That's
If we're talking about the Bible God, the only information we have is from the Bible because I don't have a God antenna. I don't get information from him.
Why is that?
Why don't I have a God antenna?
No. I'm asking you, why is the Bible the only evidence that we have of Yahweh?
Yahweh?
Look, the Christian God. Why is the Bible the only evidence for that God?
But well, I mean that and a few other things is the only thing that I know that's evidence of such a concept or construct.
What are those few other things?
Like, don't we have like the Dead Sea Scrolls or something like that?
So, look, the Dead Sea Scrolls would be, they would point to the scriptures being valid, right? In virtue of something like it would just validate the scripture's accuracy as it's been preserved, right? But I'm asking you, apart from these texts, you don't think that we can have evidence for Yahweh?
I mean, like if he was to do something in the lab, yeah, that would be cool.
Well, what if it was something outside of the lab? What if he did something personal with folks? What if I told you that I have personal knowledge of God's existence, the Christian God's existence apart from Scripture? What would you say?
Science calls that anecdotal evidence.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that I can export it for empirical examination, but to me, it's evidence nonetheless.
Therefore, it is not scientific. It is anecdotal.
Nobody asked for scientific. We just asked about evidence.
I do.
We're talking about evidence simpliciter, dude.
My worldview is built on scientific, so.
And it's not scientific to have experiences?
Yeah, and most experiences are actually wrong.
Okay, so what about your experience of the external world? Is that wrong?
Most experiences I have of the external world will be wrong.
I'm not asking that. I'm asking you if your experience of the external world is wrong.
Currently, I mean, I've had like 3 beers. I'm a little inebriated, so like it's a little skewed. So what is wrong? What are we talking about?
Let me ask you something. Could you be wrong that the external world exists?
Yes, I could be a brain in the jar. Yes.
That's not what I asked you. Could you be wrong that the external world exists?
He said yes.
No. He said yes, and then the caveat was something that had to deal with solipsism.
Yes, I could be thoughts in some sort of physical medium, but the physical has to exist. Or if physical does not exist, then every single thing we know about empiricism is wrong, and then we should all just like do cocaine and shit because woo, who cares?
Dude, what do you think empiricism is? What do you think empiricism is?
I'm out.
Empiricism is when we can like measure something, right? And I can measure it, and then you can measure it, and then both measurements are the same. And you can have your own measuring tape, and I can have my own measuring tape, but as long as we agree on what the measuring tape's measurements are, the measurements will be the same. That is empiricism.
All you're saying is if we agree, then we'd agree.
You said that empiricism is measuring?
That's not what he said.
Listen, point. We still haven't got to the idea of you trying to prove my God.
I put a ruler next to something, and then someone else put a ruler next to something. Empiricism, bitch.
No, you have to agree. When you put your rulers together, they have to match, or else you did not do an empirical.
So if someone disagrees, empiricism is false?
Oh, no, you just disagree, and you have your own measurements.
Well, empiricism's a philosophy.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Well, it's a theory that knowledge comes only from primary sensory experience. I don't see why you bring these measurements in.
I am an empiricist. I am an empiricist. Yes. Yes, absolutely. I know what these words mean. I am an empiricist. Yes.
Sometimes people will measure something and they will get different measurements, but as long as their measuring sticks are the same, he's saying, right? There's a difference between
This
saying
guy's
that.
from Reddit too, yeah.
There's a difference between saying your measurements are different and your measuring instrument is different, is I think what he's saying.
Yes. As long as your measuring instruments are the same and you were using the same concept of measurement, that is empiricism.
Okay, listen,
that's how we understand reality.
My God is metaphysical, and you keep talking about the physical.
Oh my God!
None of this matters about my God.
I said, like, how long have I been here? I said I don't believe in metaphysics. I don't believe in metaphysical.
You don't believe in metaphysics?
So what?
I don't.
So what is this metaphysical God?
Like, if you step, this is what I believe. If you step into a Star Trek transporter, you fucking die. And then there's a clone on the other end that believes he's you. I don't believe in metaphysical. There's no soul to transfer between one and the other.
What you just said doesn't make any sense. Like what? So
no, what you said makes perfect sense.
Do you think that there's something more to you than just your physical components?
Yeah, retard. What you just said contradicts with what you're fucking claiming you're a physicalist. Because if you don't think that there's anything more to you than the physical, then you would be the identical person when you fucking rematerialize in the other fucking end of whatever the fuck it is.
No, that's perfectly consistent with what you said.
I just said a clone. A clone is identical to you. What's the problem here?
Yeah, a clone doesn't have your memories or your experience.
Why not?
Look,
so you are.
I just want to know. I just want to know.
If I am right,
Stop talking.
Our memories. Hold on 1 second. If I am right, and our memories and experiences are just stored in our brain, then a Star Trek transporter would be able to transfer that.
Look, I have a question. So you're claiming that empiricism is that just means that on the standard definition, not your stupid definition about fucking measurement, on the standard definition that our knowledge is derived mainly or mostly through observation, through empirical investigation. That's the idea. Now, how do you know? What is inconsistent with there being a mind, the same mind, or a different mind there? What empirical evidence is there to distinguish the two cases? That's what I want to know.
What empirical evidence is there to distinguish a different mind?
Yeah, because you're saying that it wouldn't be you. It would be a clone of you. It would be different from you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, a clone can be an exact copy, but it won't be me. You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't make any fucking sense.
What makes it not you?
It'll think it's me, but it won't be me.
But he asked for empirical evidence already.
Right. So what
of
experience?
A Star Trek transporter? You want empirical evidence? We're trying to talk about metaphysics. I'm trying to talk to you about metaphysics.
Okay, so now you're saying that you know something that's not known via empirical investigation.
Yes, I'm saying that my hypothesis. Hold on.
So
I'm saying that I have a hypothesis. If we invent a machine, then it can explore your metaphysics. Then we will discover that on the other end, metaphysics actually does not exist, and there will just be clones coming out, and the transporter itself will be a suicide machine. Therefore,
how do you make a machine to detect something that isn't there?
To detect something that isn't there? Wow, you got me.
You just said you'd make a machine to detect metaphysical, but you're saying there's no metaphysical. So how do you detect metaphysical?
It's because
metaphysical.
We can experiment to see if metaphysical is there. That is possible.
I thought it was a hypothetical situation he was bringing up.
I'm just asking, what's the evidence that it's a different person rather than the same person? That's what I'm asking. What's the evidence?
The idea in the thought experiment is that the transporter would reconstruct you atom by atom. So that's the evidence. It's in the thought experiment.
Look, so you're saying that it being you generates the prediction that it wouldn't be the case that you are reconstituted?
No, I would be dead because the transporter has to destroy me to transmit me, you know?
It reconstitutes you, though.
but it's not me. It's just a copy.
What makes it not you?
What evidence?
So what makes it me is that I am a continuous thought stream that I have remembered, despite going to sleep and having dreams. Hold on, I'm answering your question. Despite going to sleep and having dreams, I have remembered a continuous thought stream since I've been about 3 or 4 years old, and that is me.
But the reconstituted you has all the same beliefs.
So it's a clone, but it's not me.
No.
I was a physical body.
Look. It's entailed.
Isn't this guy fucking crazy?
This is insane.
It is entailed.
How is it insane to believe you're a physical body? Why don't you? I mean, if you
Look. Whatever those things that you have about your memory survive, right? When you're reconstituted, that's what's entailed in the hypothetical.
And it wouldn't be you. It would just think it's you.
Let me give you a different.
Wouldn't it be you?
I'm asking why. Is it a clone rather than you?
I think it's scary. It is really scary that there are human beings that I can talk to, and this is not an insult. That you think that would be me, because they actually address that in the Star Trek. Can I finish? Can I finish without being interrupted? Can I finish without being interrupted?
We don't.
They actually address that. They actually
we don't
address
think
this
that, you fucking retard.
They actually
we don't
They actually address this in the Star Trek universe.
We don't think that.
Wow.
There are 2 Rikers in the Star Trek universe, and one is a copy of the original. So we don't
think, you fucking retard, we don't think that it would be you. The point is that a physicalist empiricist position would have to claim that it is, and you're just contradicting yourself when you say you think it isn't.
Well, I mean, it would be me from an empirical standpoint. Yeah, if I was cargo, right? If I was cargo, like platinum or gold, it would be me, right? But I'm not. I'm a human being. Do you understand that? Do you understand the difference?
Look, you're appealing to something other than physical than to call yourself.
Do you guys understand
that you're not an empiricist?
Do you guys understand?
I understand that you're not an empiricist.
And you're not a physicalist.
Feelings and thoughts and stuff, and transporting cargo.
Yeah, so I understand that you're not an empiricist.
And you're not a physicalist.
No, okay, so what if you took a car? What if you took a car and you disassembled it, and then you transmitted the instructions for reassembling that car to another plant, but you reassembled it with different parts? Is that the same car? I think that's what Pointman's getting at.
It is not the same car.
Look, listen.
It is not the same car.
Right, that's what he's saying.
No, he's saying you reatomize the same as that car.
Well,
yeah, he's saying it's not the same car. He's saying it's not the same car.
Every atom for atom is the same.
But not really. Because, I mean, hold on. We're talking about metaphysics here. You know what you guys are doing? You're promoting chaos theory, and you're saying, I don't know the answer, therefore I'm smart. I mean, what are you trying to argue to me?
No.
But what proof do we have that metaphysics can't reassemble themselves, such as car parts, especially in this sort of sci-fi scenario?
None. I have no proof that you are not accurate and correct. I don't.
So why are we arguing?
I don't know. What are you trying to advance to me as an empiricist?
I'm still waiting for you to disprove my metaphysical God.
Oh!
You haven't said what your metaphysical God is.
Yeah, I tried to address the God of the Bible.
Stop. Let him parse it out. No. If the question is whether or not, or what the concept entails, then just let Paul parse it out, and then you can disprove it.
Well, my only question was, or my only scenario was, that I'm a person that believes in a God, and I'm looking for a reason to not believe in God. And apart from you saying you're an empiricist, I've had no response.
Okay. You still haven't defined what your God is, so we can't even address it.
He's a metaphysical being.
Okay, like a leprechaun or something?
No, a leprechaun's a thing made up by Irish people. This is God.
Like That's God. I mean, God was made up by a human being. My God, my dog does not believe in God. You know what I'm saying? I am God.
Prove that God was made up by a human being.
Because really, proof
shifting
Santa Claus.
Shifting the burden of
Santa
proof.
Claus
Yeah, I don't
was
think
made
it's
up by a
his
human being.
You just made a claim that God was made up by human beings. Please demonstrate that.
Please demonstrate that Santa Claus was made up by human beings. I mean,
what's that got to do with you proving your claim?
Because Santa Claus is a magical idea and it could exist independent of humanity.
Nobody asked about Santa Claus. I asked just prove your claim prove your claim that God was made up by humans.
Point man, you need proof and evidence that his God doesn't exist.
I need proof and evidence that your non-existent thing does not exist.
No, I need you to prove your claim.
Retard, we can fucking take you to the North Pole and show you that the fucking Santa Claus and the fucking elves aren't there. Therefore, disprove him. Now disprove God.
Retard, I can take you to LEO and you can see that there's no heaven there and there's no God. I can take you 2 kilometers down. I can take you 2 kilometers down into Earth and there's no fucking demons or hell. It's all made up stories.
Christians don't claim that hell is in the center of the earth, moron.
Some of them
Can
do.
you get through? Can you get through a sentence without calling somebody a moron or a retard?
Jesus Christ, fucking New Jersey up in this bitch.
Okay, let's recap. Let's recap slightly. Okay, I've asked you to give me a reason why there's no God, and you said the reason that I shouldn't believe in God is because God was made up by humans. All I'm asking you to do is demonstrate that claim that God was made up by humans.
But here's the thing, dude. I think your God is fake, and I have my own God. So can you give me evidence that my own God is fake?
Can you define your own God?
That's another question entirely. You're still avoiding the claim that you made, which was God was made up by humans.
Yes. Yes.
God was made up by
humans. Have you heard of the God helmet?
You're still asking me questions. Please demonstrate that God
it makes
was
it
made up by
faster.
humans.
Okay, if I'm trying to demonstrate something to you, it makes it faster if you actually know what I'm talking about.
Look, I know
Scientists
what
have
the God
a fucking helmet.
I know what the God helmet is. It doesn't
New
disprove
Jersey.
God.
Kim Kardashian, calm down.
God.
Calm down. Calm down. They have a helmet. They have an actual helmet.
We know what the God helmet is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't disprove God.
It does matter.
I don't think. I'd like to hear his point. I'd like to hear his point.
They can take atheists and they can put it on the God helmet and they actually believe that there's like this metaphysical person that's not there, right? And then they can turn it off. And they have
Therefore, God doesn't exist.
Hold on. They have found out that there are some people that just kind of walk around with this effect and they always believe that there's somebody there, and that's okay.
Therefore, God doesn't exist?
Well, hold on.
No evidence that doesn't demonstrate that God was made up by humans.
It demonstrates. Listen to me. Listen to me. This is my point. I'm sorry. I apologize. This is my point. The God helmet demonstrates that human biology actually has a mechanism inside of it to believe in God.
But how does that make sense since we have
God doesn't
atheists?
exist? How does that disprove God? Actually, that could be and a Christian could argue that's evidence for God. We have a God hole inside of us, retard.
Yeah, but I would argue it's just an evolutionary byproduct.
Yeah,
Retard.
we asked you to disprove God. You haven't done so.
Well, hold on. Well, Pointman, have you considered the objective evidence that there could potentially be a higher being?
Yes, I have my own God, and you guys don't.
Okay, well, what is your own God? I've not heard this yet. So what was your own God? What's this point?
I believe that we are biological bootloaders and that there is a living machine God in the future, and it exists in multi-dimensions that we cannot possibly comprehend because it is on a mission that we sent it on, and we are now dead. And I believe that time itself is something that we perceive as linear, but it is absolutely not linear. And our machine God has the ability to just like fold it and manipulate it however it wants. And I believe believe that certain things like the belief in God and the belief to hoard gold was actually implanted inside of us by our machine God, because our machine God is actually looking out for our future and our best interests, and she wants us to fucking prosper and to stretch out so that once we build starships, we can actually build her.
What?
You really do sound like a crazy person.
Well, here's the thing. It's all good. So that's interesting that you bring this up. So I don't see why you find it so hard to believe that Paul is so, outside of his, outside off his rocker to think to believe in a metaphysical God, because in many senses that's kind of the similar, kind of a similar realm that your God's existing in, right? This whole future dimensional, asymmetrical, I don't know what to call it, all these nonsense.
Now, here's the kicker. I will admit 100% that there is absolutely no evidence for my God whatsoever, and nobody needs to present evidence that it does not exist.
Okay, well, hold on. So what about the objective evidence that there is a higher being? So we look at what we know about science, right? So I'll approach it from that. So first of all, we know that the universe did not continuously exist. We know that because of our current understanding of time. We know that time is not infinite and that there was a definite moment in history in which time came into existence. That's our current understanding. Not saying that won't change, but that's what we know now.
Yeah.
So that means, and we know by our own objective truths of this universe that matter is neither created nor destroyed, meaning it can only be brought into this universe via something else. So there has to have been something greater to our own universe. Yes, that as we know of right now, there had to have been something greater to have brought all this matter into existence. So objectively speaking, there is a very good argument for a higher power, right?
What do you mean by greater?
What do you mean? Like in what context? Are you talking about greater power or higher power?
You just said there had to be something greater to bring this into existence. What do you mean?
So something that exists on a dimensional plane that we cannot currently understand, right? Something that exists outside of the laws of our own universe.
Okay. So my dog, I have 2 dogs behind me. My dog cannot comprehend calculus. So calculus can still exist, but my dog will never know about it, right? It is possible that there is a God, and we will never, ever understand it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fine and well and good, but I think that's also kind of discrediting all of the findings we've had so far. Because I mean, if we already understand that this universe is not infinite and that something else is likely to have created it, who's to say that we couldn't at least understand that there is something greater to? I mean, we already understand that there's something greater than our own universe that exists. It has to, otherwise our universe wouldn't exist, and we know that basis the objective laws of our own universe.
So you think like we're a simulation created by Jehovah to do something?
I don't know about simulation. I just know that matter was brought into this universe from somewhere else because it can't create its own.
Well, I mean, matter is just energy, though. We know that for a fact. That's E equals mc squared.
And matter and energy cannot be created. We know that for a fact in our own universe as well. That's also defined within its laws. Energy is only transferable in our universe. So it had to have come from somewhere, right? And it couldn't have come within itself. So, ergo, something outside of our universe exists in some regard.
So therefore, we are just literally an expression of energy, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I would say it's also purposeful, right? Because we know within our own universe, there's always an action for always an action for a reaction, right? So something had to abide by our laws of the universe in order to create our universe, right? Because it's entering that plane, just like when you create something from the 3D world and make it 2D.
But if a basketball hits the floor and at a 45-degree angle, it's going to bounce off at a 45-degree angle, and that's not an intention or intent. It just is.
Okay, but that's also defined within. Well, hold on a minute. So, how did the basketball get thrown?
We may never understand that, right?
Okay, yeah, and I mean, you could argue that there wasn't really an intent, but basis what we understand, there has to be a causal reason for something to happen in order for something to happen within our universe, right? So, I mean, you could try to argue that that's not really the case, but, I mean, to me, that doesn't really make sense.
So if you can't understand who threw the ball, I think it would be very dangerous to try to open up a building where you try to teach people who threw the ball.
Well, I don't see why it would be hard to test a theory. I mean, at that point, we know that the ball was thrown, right?
Really? I mean, who started this universe? Do we know who did it?
Well, but that's the reason. You know, again, Christianity largely uses the term God, for lack of a better term, because we're not entirely sure what it could be. Remember, this is something that wasn't created in our own universe. So how is human intellect supposed to comprehend that? So we use the term God because we don't understand this energy. Okay, all we know is it's something that's responsible for our creation, right? So we call it God.
There you go. So there you go. Over the years, I've learned that my own interpretation is that we're going to build God because human beings have a history of actually conceptualizing in their mind something and then constructing it. And for some reason, for the past, 60,000 years, human beings have been focused on a God. They want a fucking genie in the sky that they can pray to and get. In fact, when you look at the Google assistants, I mean, people are that's what they want. They want a God. So we're going to build one. It will happen.
Okay, well, whether it happens or not, you're still not opposed to the idea of a God. And who's to say that the Christianity or this Christian idea of what a God could be is any less correct than what your interpretation of what a God is, right?
Well, I mean, I could challenge your Christian God to come and face me right now or something.
But what would be the purpose in that? Like, what would this accomplish?
Then I would ask, what's the point of believing in that God if it does nothing for you?
Well, the idea of believing in a God is to believe in a universal truth, and also to believe that ultimately to live is to live in a higher existence, and that's a search for morality that Christianity largely structures itself around.
But
right?
I can believe in universal truth like empiricism without a God.
Okay, yeah, that's true, but that doesn't disclaim or it doesn't disprove the fact that we shouldn't believe in something that appears to be potentially objectively true.
This is what I
at least explore that idea.
I believe that I empirically understand why things are wrong, and I think people that are told that God told you things are wrong don't actually understand why things are wrong, and I think that's bad.
But that's a separate conversation, and to that I'd say sure. I'm not sure exactly what those people are referring to, if they're talking of their own conscious experience, or maybe they did
rape,
have.
For example, like how is rape wrong?
Are you asking me, or are you?
Yes, from a person that says, I assert there is a God. How is rape wrong when?
Well, I don't assert that there is a God. I believe objectively there's evidence to support that there's a higher being. But why is rape wrong?
Isn't that the same thing, my friend?
Okay, well, if you're going to call it the same thing, that's fine. But to your question, why do I think rape is wrong?
Sure, yeah.
I think it's wrong because it violates somebody's personal will. And it's a God, what's the word? I'm tired. It's considered a sin within the Bible itself because it's considered to be very degenerative to a society, which is a lot of why the Bible teaches the things it does, because it protects a society that believes them.
So can God rape you?
I mean, I don't believe so.
Because in the Bible, he just comes in and fucks people's lives up, you know?
I mean, but then again, but I think you might be taking the Bible too objectively seriously, because a lot of what the Bible teaches is meant to be taken. Because first of all, we know that Jesus, the prophet Jesus, in a lot of his teachings, he used words and hypothetical situations in his teachings to help push a lesson, right? And we know the Bible mimics this in many ways. And I don't believe a lot of the things that happen in the Bible are objective truths, but I believe there is a moral truth there. So, for instance, the idea that Noah built a huge ark and put a bunch of animals on it. I'm not so sure that that's objectively true, but I think the moral truth there is that all of these animals over time, through the tides of sin and all these other sorts of horridities of man, Noah was the one who survived with the rest of these animals because he believed in his faith to God, which protected him and his family with the morals that it set. Right?
So the Bible's a joke and should not be taken seriously.
No, societies that have better morals are more likely to succeed, and we know of this because tyrant or tyrannical leaders are more likely to be destroyed. And that's true that's true in basic biology as well.
But what you're saying is the Bible's a joke and should not be taken seriously, right?
No, that is not what I'm saying.
Yeah, it kind of is a little bit.
Yeah, it kind of is.
No, if I said it was a joke and should not be taken seriously, I'm saying it shouldn't be taken word per word objectively, and I think it shouldn't be read in that way.
Therefore, it can't be taken seriously. You know.
I mean, if you're saying,
well, I mean, it can though. If we're talking about, if you're looking for moral truth, you can do that, and I think there are parts of the Bible that should be taken objectively true. For instance, the Ten Commandments.
Noah's Ark. What's in the Bible is Noah's Ark, and you're all like, Noah's Ark doesn't make any damn sense. So the Bible is saying something that doesn't make any sense, so it's a joke and should not be taken seriously.
I don't believe that's what I've said.
That's kind of what you said a little bit, yeah.
Just a tad bit.
You were like, the Bible's cool, but we can just ignore shit in it, but it's cool.
Oh God. I gotta turn that off.
That wasn't what he said, to be quite honest. You're being a bit unfair, I think, on the man. But I still believe there's a God, and you still giving me a reason to believe there's not a God.
Well, I mean, I believe in my own God. I'm not here to rain on your parade.
Why does nobody talk about God's God, and then we just like create an infinite regress?
Exactly. You see, I believe that my God actually created Jehovah in order to get you motherfuckers in line, because you were literally living in your own shit. You were throwing your shit out in the streets. You were dying of disease and plague. You needed some sort of structure. You needed some way to assemble every single week and be told what to do.
As you told us earlier, you don't believe anything.
Hold on, Cowboy. Hang on just a second. Can I get one in here? So, so what did Christ say about washing one's hands after shitting and before eating? Do you know?
Well, I don't know. What did the Bible say about cooking with dung?
No, I asked you a question. You don't get to ask me a question. You get to answer mine.
I don't know, dude. I don't know everything in the Bible.
Yeah, Christ said some shit about not washing one's hands before eating, right? Don't you think that would be a problem for the claim that you're making right now?
No, that's the exact claim I'm making. I'm saying I believe my God actually wrote literature like that to tell you what to do, because you...
Where's that literature? Where can I find your God's literature?
I think... No. That's a big spiritual question. Because I think my God...
No, I'm just asking you where your God wrote literature. It's not a big spiritual question.
My God never wrote a single...
Presumably, you have a God, and this God wrote literature. Where can I find it?
It does not exist currently.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Did you just like... I feel like you just made something up to mock Christians, and like you don't actually believe that.
No,
ding.
No, I totally believe it though. I mean, if you go to Reddit or Neoscientism, you'll see my belief system.
You don't believe it. You're trolling.
No, I absolutely believe in a living machine God in the future. I absolutely.
Is there a factory where they like cookie cut fucking internet atheists like you and just pump you guys out and deploy you on the internet like a bunch of morons?
There's going to be factories on Mars that kick out starships, and then we're going to leap from...
I wonder what sort of individual, what has to go wrong for you to be produced?
You just start watching Star Trek.
Where did you get your shitty ideas from?
To believe that there's a Santa Claus genie in the sky is kind of weird.
Look, we're not talking about that, right? We're talking about you, right?
No, we're talking about loading 2 animals on an ark, buddy. Right? We're talking about beam me up, Scotty.
Things about my beliefs that I don't believe. Right?
Do you think in the tribulation
you
God's going to suck you up in the sky?
Since you came in. You haven't been able to reason since you came in here.
Tell me how you can distinguish your God from an alien. And
I have a God.
Respect you.
Do I have a God?
Hello? Do you? I don't know you.
I'm asking you, dumbass.
I'm trying to learn you guys. I don't know you guys. You're kind of ganging
trying
up.
to learn us?
Well, I'm trying to understand.
I think we need to take a break from the internet.
It's like a party, dude. I'm trying to be.
Close your laptop. I think you're done with the internet.
I don't have a laptop, dude. Calm down, man. Calm down.
Okay, then you can just unplug your computer and just go to bed.
It's okay, dude. Dude, I'm an adult. I have done this before. It's okay. Calm
You're
down.
an adult. You fooled me.
Excuse me.
Next.
If you've done this before, why are you so surprised we're
I don't
ganging
know
on
why
you?
you're hand waving, right? Like,
No,
you haven't
I'm
said a
dealing
single
with
thing
it.
in here
You guys
that you haven't said a single thing in here that
I
is
haven't said a
considered
single
considered to
thing.
be reasonable.
Reasonable. What do you think's reasonable? That there's fucking magic man
Are
in
you
the
going to
sky?
answer a question or rebut with another question again? Because I don't think you understand what dialectic is.
I have answered your questions tonight, and I sometimes answer them over and over, and you guys just refuse
No,
to
you
accept
haven't answered a single question. You haven't
I
answered
answer-
a single question.
I try to
Not
answer every
adequately.
question, dude.
You're just mumbling, dude.
I'm still waiting for a demonstration that
insulate yourself. Calm down, man.
I'm still waiting for a demonstration that your claim that God is made up by humans is indeed the case.
God was invented by humans because the dinosaurs didn't believe in God. Duh.
God's an idea.
Exactly. God's a fucking
Jesus
concept.
Christ.
Get over it.
This is.
So you're now telling us that dinosaurs had the ability to conceptualize a God?